Welcome back to WRPL. It's the podcast where we talk about all the things we are watching, reading, playing, and listening to. My name's Ben.
And I'm Steve.
What's up, Steve?
Not much, Ben. What's new with you?
Happy Last of Us Sunday, like every Sunday.
Yep. And also, happy Mother's Day to all the moms out there.
That's true. I guess the more important thing is Happy Mother's Day.
Yeah,
but
you know.
I'm not a mom, so fuck them. So our main topic today is Clown in a Cornfield.
The perfect Mother's Day movie.
Yeah, weird. Like, nothing came out because it was this and Fight or Flight. Mm-hmm. It's like, what are you taking mom to? There's no mom movies out right now, but whatever. Maybe mom's like clowns. I don't know. What do I know? Let's start with a roll. We got not too much stuff to talk about, but 11.
Dang. 5.
God, fuck. Jesus Christ. Anywho, well, I know you won, but let's do general news and trailers and stuff. I think it's all trailers, really. Maybe one news thing. I know you're excited, but we got the title for the new Godzilla Kong movie.
I did not see this.
It's called Supernova.
Boo.
Yeah, so I don't know what that means because I'm not like
Godzilla in space.
Yeah, it's probably something from space. Like, I know they already did Ghidorah, but there's other things. That weird beak thing with the weird, I bet it's something like that.
Okay.
But I'm surprised we heard anything. It just seems like we just had a Kong Godzilla movie, and they're just cranking them out.
It
won't be out until next year, but...
Because the movie was 2 years ago, or was it last year?
It was last year.
God, time flies.
Yeah, I know.
It feels like...
It was like March, April of... first week of April last year.
I didn't love the first half of that movie.
But that second half...
Pretty good time.
They prove that they can take something as silly as Kong and Godzilla and make them fun. So I'm excited, regardless of the monster.
All right. I guess we'll just have to wait and see.
And then we got a trailer for Peacemaker 2 coming out in like August, I believe.
Mm-hmm.
Season 1 was great. John Cena really made that character shine, and I'm excited to see the whole team returning for James Gunn's new version, because we see like a John Cena from another dimension. We see like two of them in the same room. Does that have to do with how the DCEU show is now in the DCU? I'm interested in how they were going to handle it, because he pretty much said the only thing canon from the original stuff is Peacemaker. So, I don't know.
Well, James Gunn hasn't really given me any reason to distrust him so far. So, I'm going to trust that it's just going to be a fun, good time with quite a few good laughs and some disgusting violence and, a shirtless John Cena dancing around in his underwear probably again.
Hell yeah. Do you think we will... I know we'll probably change the intro dance because some of those characters are dead, but do you think they'll keep the same song? Or...
I feel like the song's so iconic that they wouldn't get rid of it.
But I feel like they should change it.
Or, they keep the song and they keep the dance, but now the dead people are just like zombies.
Okay. Or you just swap them out for some of the new characters and you do the exact same thing. I don't know if they do that. I think people are expecting something big or something new. What are you going to do now? Oh, the same thing, but kind of different? Meh. But excited for that. And then 3 new trailers, full trailers, movies.
Okay.
I'll talk about the one I care about the least. There's a new Conjuring coming. Okay, Conjuring Last Rites.
I did watch that one.
Fuck these. I'm so over Conjuring. Especially the beginning of the trailer felt like it could have been for any of those Conjuring movies.
Sure.
And I don't know. I'm just kind of done with them. And I mean, they're a bunch of fraudsters in real life. And I'm not a big ghost story guy, especially when it's ghost that can fling you across the room and twist every cross into an upside down cross, things like that. But I mean, it looks okay for what it is.
Yeah, I mean, I liked the first one a lot, and then the second one I didn't think I was gonna like, but I thought it was like pretty solid.
Yeah.
And then the third one was that the Devil Inside Me or whatever it's called.
Yeah,
and that one
Devil Made Me Do It.
The Devil Made Me Do It. That's right. Yeah,
that one's gonna be.
I didn't care for that one.
Yeah. I don't really care about the Annabelles, the Nuns,
I didn't watch
the
any
La
of those.
Llorona.
Yeah.
Some of them are okay
Yeah.
or have good moments in it, but all in all,
I mean, good for these people to like take like make a new franchise and then branch off into other franchises.
yeah,
Like,
I applaud
good
it.
for the Conjuring universe.
Sure.
But outside of the first two, I don't think any of the movies have really grabbed me, or I've heard that they're like really worth a watch. I think this trailer looks. I don't want to say it looks good or bad. It just looks like it fits in with all the other ones.
It's another Conjuring. But hey, it's the last one, so thank God.
They say. But if you're going to do a movie, it's the last one. Last Rites is a pretty solid title.
Sure, yeah. You got to always, X-Men Last Stand. We thought, because at that time, you just did trilogies. That's all, unless you were something really stupid or Godzilla, you kind of kept it to just 3. And so if you know it's your last one, then do it. Where movies have been fucking up was with, like, Bad Boys and Batman, the Bad Boys for Life.
Yeah,
it was the third one, Batman Forever. It was the third one. Like, come on, guys. You save your forevers for the fourth one. Next one. One I was unfamiliar with. I didn't even know this story existed until earlier this year. But The Long Walk. Did you watch the trailer
I did
for
watch
that?
the trailer for this.
Stephen King story under
what
his
a great
pen name.
Switch up in trailer, because I honestly thought I didn't know anything about this movie. Like, so that first half, it has that. I feel like it has that one optimistic song. It might even have that one song that we always make fun of. That's like on Trouble with the Curve. It had like that same vibe.
I know you're not alone. I'm gonna make this place. Yeah,
that song. It had like that kind of feel to it. And then halfway through, you're like, oh no, this movie's fucked up. It looks sweet.
It does. It feels kind of fakey. And that after all the Hunger Games and the young adult sort of dystopian things of just someone at their wits' end, like, I don't know, people gotta walk and you walk until you die, and they're like, genius. It's just such a simple premise.
Yeah, and I mean, I don't know if it'll branch out and you do flashbacks or whatever, but if the entire movie pretty much just takes place on a road, like, what a great way to be like, we're gonna give you $10 million or what. I mean, I'm sure it costs way more than $10, but it's like, here's a low budget film that you can make really fucking awesome, because there's like really no set. You need one bad guy, and then like 2 tanks or whatever. Not even tanks.
If it was we're walking through the desert and it's 100 miles through the desert and it can all look the same, but it is vegetation and you can't just use the same mile stretch of road. They're going to go through towns, so it may even be more expensive because for every scene you're moving locations. Which, in most movies, every scene you kind of like switch it up. But yeah, it would be relatively inexpensive just because you don't need as much as other movies. But yeah, they're definitely going to be going through.
I mean, for all we know, that they're surrounded by green screen, and a lot of it
it could be the volume, but interesting, and a lot of new, young, fresh faces, the new Karate Kids in it, and.
The kid from Licorice Pizza and the kid from Alien Romulus.
Yeah.
And the kid from other stuff.
So up-and-comers who, like, when we saw Hunger Games, everybody was kind of fresh-faced and now mega superstars.
Yeah.
So we'll see. But, yeah, it looks cool. I'm excited for that. Last one. My most anticipated.
I have a feeling I know what it is.
Because we talked about it a little bit last night. Dangerous Animals with Jai Courtney. I'm a sucker for any horror movie that involves animals eating people. Because that's the scariest thing in the world. And sharks scare the shit out of me. The ocean scares the shit out of me. So using a serial killer who's making like snuff films with sharks is really fucked up and scary. And I just think it's a great premise for a movie.
I thought you were going to talk about the new Together trailer.
Oh, no, I've been avoiding it because I heard that it shows a lot, and I'm already sold. I don't need to watch it again.
Yeah, I'll say I don't think it really spoils anything, but it does give like some detail, but it definitely gives like there's a lot of new images in it, so I would just avoid it.
I know they're going to get stuck together in some way. I don't need to see them doing that. I'll be excited for it.
Don't watch it.
Okay.
But if you did, I don't think it would necessarily ruin the movie. No. You'd just go like, well, it might have been nice not to know that scene or something. But
yeah.
Anyway. But yeah. This movie looks dumb.
Yeah.
But like a fun kind of dumb.
Fun-dumb, yeah.
Yeah.
A
So
woman battling against her captor who's going to eventually knock him into the water and the sharks are going to eat him. Like, who doesn't want to see that?
after watching this trailer, it just kind of gave me sort of like really shitty revenge vibes. But
Mm-hmm.
like revenge is kind of a well, not kind of. It is a fucking sweet ass movie.
Yeah.
So if it's revenge but on a boat, I'm
Mm-hmm.
into it.
Yeah. So that's all I got. You got any trailers, anything that you saw recently?
No,
All right, cool.
that's all the
Well,
big stuff this week. So
you won the dice roll, so let's talk about some shit.
all right, you're not gonna care about this at
All
all.
right.
But me, I've been a longtime fan of Conan O'Brien, and Netflix released. They recorded the Mark Twain Award that he
Mm.
got for, comedy or humor. It's the They say it's the biggest award that you can get as a comedian.
Mm-hmm.
Lots of legendary comedic people have gotten it, whether you like them or not, like Adam Sandler, Jerry Seinfeld.
They gave it
Uh,
to Adam Sandler.
I think Adam Sandler was the year before
Yikes!
or 2 years
Adam Sandler
before.
got it before Conan
Yeah.
O'Brien.
Letterman, other Kevin Hart got it. But big names in comedy. Dave Chappelle was
Mm-hmm.
probably like the biggest one. Anywho, and so these Mark Twain awards, like they're a lot of fun because they're like kind of a roast,
Mm-hmm.
but there's not like I'm gonna bust your chops. But I'm not gonna say like the most mean, hurtful thing
Yeah.
about you or like bring up something that you are embarrassed about in your past. It's just
Mm-hmm.
like, hey, we're friends. I'm gonna crack some jokes and tell you how much I like genuinely think you're a great freaking guy. And I've only ever heard stories of Conan being like one of the nicest guys in
Mm-hmm.
Hollywood. And I've always liked his comedy. I was a big fan when he was on TBS. That's when I got into him. And I've just continued to like watch stuff that he's put out and just being this, you know, very smart, good dude who's just really, really funny and just not afraid to just do the silliest, dumbest bits. And a lot of the people who came out to speak for him were all people I've enjoyed. John Mulaney, Kumail Nanjiani, uh, Bill Burr, like all these comedians came out and had really good bits. So if you're a fan of Conan, if you're a fan of comedy, check it out. I think it's a well deserved award and good for him and congratulations.
Yeah, I like Conan. He's awesome. I remember getting a TV guide. That's how old I am. We always got TV guide in the mail, and it had a cover of just like the new late night hosts.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't remember. I'm sure Chevy Chase was on there as well. Like I don't remember who else was on, but it was Conan O'Brien was there. I'm like, who the hell is this guy? I don't know who he is. And tuned in with like my buddy at a sleepover, and was
Mm-hmm.
like, oh my god, this is the best thing ever. Because Letterman and Leno were just so, I don't know, safe.
Mm-hmm.
Letterman could do some really dumb shit, and I love the top 10 list, but everything seemed really safe, and Conan was just out there.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I like that guy. All right, I'll do a quick one. Mentioned last week, but Walking Dead, Dead City is back. Um,
Woo!
where we left our characters, Maggie took her son away from New York. Negan's stuck in New York because the bad ruler lady is like, I need you to run my army. They don't, I mean, they listen to me, but like, you got the words, man. People respect you. You're known. And he's like, fuck you. So he's been in prison for a year, and they just keep getting like, hey, what about, we could give you better food and better accommodations. You just got to lead our army. And he's like, don't want to do that anymore. I'm not that man. I'm like, all right, we're going to kill your wife and kid. And I'm like, oh, okay. Well, then I'll lead your army then.
Oh,
So,
Negan got remarried?
yeah, well, he found someone and they had a kid and stuff. Yeah.
That was just in the Dead City season
No,
one.
that
Something
happened
like,
in Walking
oh, that
Dead.
happened in Walking Dead.
Yeah,
Oh,
like
okay.
he left and started his whole life with this other group of people, and then
Does he
um,
still kind of see Lucille on the side?
I can't remember what he did with Lucille, but they made him a new Lucille, and it's upgraded.
Lucille too. Oh,
It has a button that could like shoot out electricity at the tip, like a little like a taser
okay.
thing. So he does his whole big speech because there's a bunch of random gangs in the city, and like we got to unite because
Warriors.
because Fedra or the Wolves are coming. The group
Yeah,
that
yeah.
Maggie's with. Like we want to get to New York because even though they're scumbag gangs, they've created a way to take the dead and use the methane to power the city, and like like we want that technology, so we got to take the city. So, kind of an interesting start. And so now Maggie's like, I got to get back in it and stop them and whatever.
Can't wait to not watch it.
What's your next thing? Well, let's talk Wheel of Time.
Yeah, it is that Wheel of Time and
Okay.
Last of Us.
So I had the last 2 episodes to watch. I did it this morning. I really didn't care about these last 2 episodes. I was like checked out. Maybe it's just too long since I watched the previous episodes, but that whole like episode 7 was preparing uh, all of his people in the Two Rivers against the
Yeah, well, I think that was
Gronkalmites or
episode
whatever.
6, right?
No, that was 7.
There was 8 episodes this season?
There was 8 episodes. Yep.
Oh, okay. You're
Yeah,
right. You're right.
getting ready, and then the Gronkalmites or whatever the fuck are coming to get them, and
The Trollocs.
Trollocs, yeah, and then the priest people, and it's just a big fight. And I found that episode to be so boring. I mean, yeah, fighting, but it was like on a road. I don't know. It just was not very engaging.
Okay, I thought we were just going to talk about the season as a whole.
Well, do you have anything about that episode to say?
Sure, I was really impressed by that episode in a landscape of we've seen fantasy battles on TV before. I think everyone's just still very spurned or whatever by Game of Thrones and the big final battle, and it's like you can't see anything.
Yeah.
Even though pretty much all their battles have been night battles, except for the Battle of the Bastards, which was still kind of like dusky, cloudy day.
Yeah.
But anyway, I thought it was a real fun change of pace in a show that like has not had the budget to really do good battle scenes. Like end of season 1, you had like that whole army of Trollocs that just looked bad, that they just kind of like wiped out from a magic blast, and they have skated around doing these sort of big budget things. I didn't know this episode was coming, and so like seeing this really well put together battle sequence I thought was a lot of fun. And like I was talking to a buddy who's like really into Wheel of Time, and this was I think the night before this episode aired. I was like, I'm really not digging Perrin this season. Like they just don't really have him doing anything. It's like, and it's not nothing against that actor. It's just I don't think they like just have anything for him to do. And then I get done the episode, I was like, this is a good fucking episode of Perrin. Like it was
Perrin's
cool.
normally a Mary Sue. Like, he kicked ass in episode 7.
Yeah, like I just thought it was fun, like seeing him like rally around the people and like take charge and kind of be Lord Yellow Eyes or whatever they call him, and just seeing him like don armor and just kicking ass, and I just believe that he was like this great warrior, even though we haven't really seen him do like a ton of fighting, I don't think. But yeah, I had a blast in that episode. Yeah, battle scenes aren't necessarily like usually the deepest for like story and character, but it just being like pretty much a solely Perrin focused episode, I thought was really fun and good for that character. It was like finally you gave him something to do, and it was like this really awesome battle sequence, and I really enjoyed it. And I was never confused about what was going on, and I liked how everyone was like used in the battle, and how the stakes were constantly changing, like when the magic lady not dies, but like gets hit with the arrow or whatever. But the only thing that bugged me about that is like an episode or 2 before, she got hit with a bunch of arrows and they got healed by the kids, and then she got this again. It's like, okay, well, this is the time that she dies in this battle, and then you have like someone who you may care about in the show like you lose something here, and it's like, nope, we're just gonna heal you again. It's like, well,
they killed
that's when you're doing like superhero bullshit where it's like it's all just so convenient. But minor gripe in that episode. Everything else I really dug.
Episode 9 I thought was a bit better. Like finally,
episode 8.
Episode 8, yes. We're getting somewhere. Rand's actually kind of like doing the thing. He's getting his army, and then what's her name? Nynaeve. Finally, she could use her fucking powers. She had to drown to be able to finally channel, and like, it's. I don't know, having this character like, you're the most powerful one in 11 million years, and then she's just like, I can't do anything. Like, oh, but you're just so strong. Like, ugh, just find it. It like they did it in Ahsoka, where it's like this Star Wars character, I'm a Jedi, but I can't use the Force. Oh, try. I can't do anything. And then when she needs to, she's able to push someone like 1,000 feet over a chasm using the Force. I'm like, come on, man.
Yeah, it's a long-standing trope of just my powers are blocked, and
Yep.
then some sort of traumatic event allows me to
Yeah.
get them back at the right exact moment when they need
But
the most.
I did like the I forget her name, but square jaw red woman.
Hmm.
Like she waits for a bit, like okay, she's got to be dead by now. And because most of the time they throw them in the water and they walk off, she gives it a little bit of time, but it's always wait 5 minutes.
Yeah,
Really, start shooting lasers into the lake
like
just to be
I know you're
safe.
busy, but
Yeah.
until you're sure she's not coming back
Uh
up.
huh.
Yeah,
Um, and then Rand, what's Rand's girlfriend's name? She doesn't do anything in this
Egwene.
episode. Egwene. She doesn't. She just stands there and then goes, "Come back!" at the very end, and he stops his powers and like, okay,
Actually, it doesn't stop his powers. It just
no, he does, doesn't he?
no, it just the powers just keep swirling. The episode just kind of ends.
Oh, I swore it was like swirling hard, and then it like
Yeah, you
faded
never.
out, and it was like, oh, he has control over it. He's able to back down. I don't know.
I could be wrong, but
Maybe
I'm
my eyes were
99.
glazing over by
I'm
then.
95% sure.
Okay,
I'm
that's
right.
fine.
But so your thoughts on the season as a whole?
Fine. Like I felt like I was more invested in the first half than the second half. And like when we got to that really good episode,
Mhm.
that was like the peak, and then I just stopped giving a shit after
Interesting.
that. We'll wait another year when it comes around, see if I want to stick with it. But
If it comes back,
if it comes back, I
they
mean,
haven't renewed it yet.
I know. I just saw a thing on Fox. They're like, oh, we renewed uh Grimsburg, Ordinary Man People. I can't remember what it's called, and then like Crapopolis. Like these three shows that nobody fucking gives a shit about, but Fox has not renewed The Great North yet. And it just pisses me off that they have this show that does better ratings wise than
Mhm.
those other ones. That's actually funny because I've watched at least an episode of each of them. Grimsburg is fine. I can see maybe why
Mhm.
keeping that around, but Crapopolis is awful. The I can't even remember what it's called. Like Universal Basic Men, Universal Basic Guys.
I don't know.
It's ugly and it's not funny. And then like
I know Crapopolis is animated. Were the other two shows animated
yeah,
as
they're
well?
also
Oh, okay.
animated. Yeah. And then you have Great North. It's like the guys who make, or some of the people who worked on Bob's Burgers. And then look at Bob's Burgers. It's on other stations playing in reruns because you let it go.
Hmm.
Bob's Burgers should not have survived. Like I'm surprised it did. And it's like you could have another one of these. Just stick with it. You're only at your 5 seasons here. Yeah, it's enough for syndication, but like don't you want to have this other thing that you can sell to other networks? I don't pisses me off,
Yeah.
but
Well, I mean, it might be a better rated ratings show, but it could just be
more expensive to produce.
well
as
that,
well.
and also it's like, well, these other shows might not have the ratings, but we're giving them room to breathe and find their audience. And I'm not saying
And
that they're
and maybe
gonna, but I'm just saying I could see that being a reason why they would do that. It's like, well, we can cut the show, keep three, and then hopefully one of these will take off as well.
ugh,
I don't know.
it's weird if they got rid of it and animation domination didn't have Family Guy, Simpsons, or Bob's Burgers. Like if something was missing from that mix because it's those are all played on different days now,
Yeah.
and Great North is on Sundays. But whatever. We're talking about Wheel of Time. Yeah. I hope it comes back, and if it is like on the chopping block, give it one more. Just wrap this shit up. I know you have a million books that you have to cut out, but you're never going to get a million books worth of seasons.
Yeah.
So, and the book people are already unhappy with this show. So, fuck them. Just like wrap it up. One more.
I don't know if like all the book people are. Well, it
I've
doesn't
never,
matter.
I've never heard a positive thing from a book person.
Well, I think people just like to complain.
Yeah, that's true.
That's where you're going to go look for the complaints.
Mhm.
That being said, because my buddy who is really into Wheel of Time, for whatever reason I thought he hated the show, but he's like, no, I enjoy the show. He's like, and he always tells me like where it deviates and stuff because I know nothing of these books.
Mm-mm.
It's a fantasy series I haven't got into solely because it's super long.
Yeah.
But he has been enjoying the show, and I would say after season 2, I'm like, I don't think it's as bad as everyone's making it out to be, but it's also a show that if it disappeared, I wouldn't be upset.
Yeah.
After watching season 3, I think it's a vast improvement across the board. I had a great time all the way through, and I was more engaged with the characters, and I think it like budget wise looked better.
Mm-hmm.
I think this season ran like the first two seasons ran as just like the hot brooding guy, where this season, yeah, he's still hot and brooding, but like it shows this guy can actually act now that you
Mm-hmm.
gave him something to do.
Yeah.
And so it's like, okay, I see why you cast him, because I thought like he was great, especially in that episode with all the different flashbacks and he's playing like four or
Mm-hmm.
five characters. It's really good. I think all the taint, or not the tainted, the like the evil bad guy. Fuck.
Mm, the Sully. I don't know.
Oh man. Anyway, they're all creepy and cool.
Yeah. Oh, when in that last episode when like she exploded that guy
And
and he's
yeah,
all like
he's like a
strung
spider
out.
web of like body parts and stuff.
Amazing. If
Really
that's a
great effect.
practical effect, like that's really great. I don't
Yeah.
know if that was a computer effect, but that was really great
Yeah,
looking.
that was really fucking sweet.
And I do like that woman with the short hair who's a little kooky.
And the black fingers, yeah. It's like they're all kind of pulled in from like different time periods, and it's
Yeah.
like it all just exists. And I don't know. I think they're cool.
I do like Rand's evil girlfriend too. She's pretty cool.
Yeah. Um, Lanfear, which
Hmm.
like you're gonna have a bad guy's name. It's like, what do we call this person? Well, we'll throw in a word and then fear, and then it'll work.
There's like Damphir, that's like a vampire, So
Yeah. Evelyn, whatever,
Yeah, yeah.
stupid shit like that. Anyway, so now that Wheel of Time is this season's ended, I'm like, yep, I'm sold. I'm back in. Give me more seasons. I hope the show picks up, and I don't necessarily want 14 seasons or whatever. Give me 10, so long as it like maintains quality. I can do 10, but if you can do it in less, great. I was talking to my buddy, and he's like, because the stories I've heard is just books like 6 through 9 or 10 are all just like kind of a drag. Like most of the fan base kind of agree, like those are the hard books to get through because like not a lot's happening and it's all just kind of spinning the wheels, the wheel of time. So I could just see like, okay, just condense those books and give me the highlights. So really, you're knocking out 4 books in a season or something. But I don't know. I don't know what they've got planned, but I hope the show sticks around. But if it starts sucking, then fucking cut it. But season 3, vast improvement. Had a good time.
I bet Amazon's in this real pickle of Lord of the Rings costs way more. I don't know if it's way more, but more. But it's a known property, but people don't seem to like it. Then we got Wheel of Time, and we got another fantasy thing, which is less expensive and based off, things we can, actually.
There's source material we
could adapt
directly
this stuff, whereas Lord of the Rings, they're pulling it out of their ass. And it's like, well, we got to cancel one. Well, do we cancel the known title that the property that besides Harry Potter and Star Wars
Even if
and
they
Marvel,
hate it, they're watching.
It's still there, or Wheel of Time, the thing that nobody's watching, but maybe can be our Game of Thrones of the future. Because it took like I think 3 seasons before people really started watching Game of Thrones. Like there was fans from the get-go, but it didn't become a phenomenon until around after 2, around 3. Same with like Breaking Bad. A lot of people didn't jump on until like season 4 of that. So maybe by the time they get to season 6, this can be a bigger thing, and so I can see one of them going.
Yeah, but then I mean, I think. Isn't Amazon also trying to do Gears of War and God of War as
let's do the most expensive fucking properties we can possibly
and not do
think
any of them that well?
Yeah.
Who knows? I mean, I'm fans of all these franchises, but if you're just gonna throw money at a thing just to like not really care about the like actual material, then don't make it. I don't know.
That's like the scene that
money.
The God of War, the guy that's running the God of War show, going like, "Well, I never really played the games because I only played old arcade games like Asteroids." And like, ooh, that's not something you should admit. The fans are gonna eat you alive for that, and also, maybe try to play it or at least watch a walkthrough of the entire game.
It could have been that it's like I watched the walkthrough and I got the idea and all that stuff. But it, part of the experience of the game and like the reason people fall in love with it is like I'm engaged because I'm actually playing this person. It feels awesome to have the power of a god or like take a chainsaw gun and mow alien underground monsters or whatever they are down. But I always give everybody the benefit of the doubt. And it's
Yeah.
like, release the trailer. Let me watch an episode or two, see what they're doing. And if it sucks, I'll bail. It doesn't cost me anything
Yeah.
to, watch an episode or two, really.
The guy who wrote superhero movie wrote Chernobyl.
Yeah,
So,
that blew my fucking mind.
and then went on to make Last of Us. So it's like, give people a shot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's the true Hollywood story. Like, it's always, oh, I was a small town kid who got off the bus and just got noticed I was in the right place at the right time and then launched my career and all my dreams came true. Where it's just like, here's a guy who, like, yeah, he's not the actor and it's not like the sexy story, but it's like, that's the real inspiration, I think, is here's a guy who was making dog shit movies and just, pushed through and learned what he could and kept working until he got the opportunity to make one of the greatest pieces of like television ever fucking made. And just across the board, everyone's like, this is the shit. It's like, the guy from Scary Movie made it. So it's not about like the material, it's just how you can like learn and grow and get better as you go. And just fantastic. Craig Mazin, shout out to you.
I guess, that's a good enough transition. You want to talk about this week's and last week's episode of The Walking Dead? Oh my God, The Walking Dead. The Last of Us. I mean, it does share very similar things to when I started watching The Walking Dead and just seeing like zombies on the street and like, yeah, they're not as overgrown. Last of Us is so overgrown. These are a little more, you got some weeds sticking out of the cracks in the street and some crumbling buildings, but it still felt the same in a way. But we didn't talk about it last week.
Because we forgot.
Because we just totally forgot. But I'm kind of glad because I've heard nothing but negativity about episode 4.
I've gotten the same thing.
And it's pissing me off. I think episode 4 is my favorite episode of the season.
By far.
So, and
episode 4 is fantastic. Like, from a gamer's perspective, like, every episode, they're changing a bunch of stuff. Like, episode 4 is pretty much the game, which is not necessarily. I can see why it was like, oh, well, if you wanted the game, just go play the game. I get that argument. But, like, just seeing all these things from the game, like, come to life, and it's...
Listen mode, scavenging, crouching.
Just recreating these big epic scenes and doing it so goddamn well. And it's just, I don't know what the complaint... Like, episode 4 knocked my socks off. I loved episode 4.
The main complaints I hear is how Ellie and Dina's the pregnancy reveal. In the game, Ellie is super pissed and calls Dina a burden and goes off and does her own thing. And people are like, oh, and she's just making dumb jokes about being a dad, which I thought that line was adorable.
Yeah.
I thought it was so cute. And like, oh, but she's supposed to be, more pissed off at this and angry. Okay, they are setting you up for when she kills Mel, another pregnant lady, it's gonna hit her even harder because she is in this blissful honeymoon phase of their relationship. And it makes sense to me not to break them up, especially since we didn't have any sort of Tommy or Jesse things at that time. And, they didn't hook up earlier in the weed store. Like, things mixed around, so you have to shuffle some of these pieces.
Yeah. And I think them hooking up later is a better choice than the game. I think that's one choice for the show that I 100% agree with. Like, this was the way to do this. Yeah. Because it gives you time to grow with these characters and give you a little bit of like the will they, won't they. Yeah, you played the game and they will, but it gives people who haven't seen it that chance to kind of get into these characters instead of just like, oh, well, I know nothing about them, but they're hooking up. Okay. Where it's like, no, this is a love story in this dark, awful thing. And it like, you get the jokes and comedy, get the tears going, and then when they finally hook up, it feels earned versus just like, here's a thing because we both happen to like each other.
Yeah. I do think they should have had a little more discussion about her immunity. It's like Dina didn't really care, and you can chalk that up to she's scared for her. She knows she's pregnant, and like she needs to spill her guts, and obviously Ellie's not infected, so she's not going to worry about it. But it would have been nice to have Ellie talk about like, oh, look at this scar, I had to cut these teeth marks and sew it up so it looked like this, and I've been bit X amount of times. It just seems like Dina is not interested in her immunity at all.
I mean, that could be the case, but I imagine this is the show going like, well, we don't need to spend
Yeah.
a 5-minute exposition dump of like
Sure.
retelling the stuff. Like we kind of get that with her going like, oh, your arm,
Mm-hmm.
and that's where you were bit, and that's like
Yeah.
directly from the game or whatever. And it's
Mm-hmm.
like, yeah, I had to hide it with the tattoo and
And the burn
then the
and
burn and stuff.
yeah.
Like, so we get like, okay, now here's this conversation, here's evidence that like they do talk
They
about
do
it,
talk about,
but
but
they just don't go in
yeah.
depth.
And then the other complaint is in the game, Ellie is like man on the mission.
Mm-hmm.
She's left like 2 days after Joel's death. Tommy was like a day after, and she's fuming and pissed and is just taking out all these motherfuckers left and right. And the show kind of makes it seem like they're just happy and finger blasting each other and just having a good old time. And the drive
Mm-hmm.
isn't there before, but it makes sense because in the game she left 2 days after
Mm-hmm.
in the show, she's been in the hospital for 30 fucking days because she got the shit kicked out of
3
her.
months.
Oh, was it 3 months?
It was 3 months.
Okay. So she's had time to like calm down and process some of it.
Yeah.
She's still on a mission to do this, but she's not as amped up as Video Game Ellie. So it's fine that she can take a moment of levity and have these small moments with the girl that she loves.
And also, the game is an action game. Like
Yes.
it's like it makes sense in order to survive killing hundreds of other humans,
Mhm.
hundreds of other infected. It's like, oh well, this is this action rage version of Ellie that needs to be able to kill all these people, and you need to
Mhm.
believe that she's like a complete and total badass. Where this Ellie's not mowing down all these creatures.
We've seen her kill one dude.
Yeah. So it would just be, and if she was like constantly angry and just evil, like you wouldn't enjoy watching her.
Yeah.
I feel like you'd be like, this bitch is just too fucking pissy. Like I
Mhm.
don't like her attitude. But like her having this relationship with Dina going back and forth between like the want of revenge and the want of keeping this new beautiful thing alive,
Mhm.
like that's I think more interesting character work versus just like straight all I care about is revenge. Because then when she does go like in this episode that we're about to talk about,
Mhm.
when she finally like gets a moment of kind of revenge, you see like how scary and monstrous like that kind of version is.
And I think if Dina was there, say with a gas mask or anything, Dina wouldn't allow her to get to that point. But because she's alone with what was her name?
Nora.
She's able to let her guard down and let the rage kind of build up.
Mhm.
So it's always gonna be there. I would like to see her have one of those scenes, like in the game when you right before you get saved by Jesse, you're in the neighborhood with the dogs kind of for the
Mhm.
first time. There's just a lot of fucking dudes, and you really gotta either go real hard and fuck them up or be really sneaky. I would like to have a scene of her where she is silently killing a bunch of people
Mhm.
and just have one moment of real pure rage before she gets to the Mel
Yeah.
and Owen scene.
I could see it being a thing, how they did with Joel, because the final mission of the first game is you're just going through the hospital killing guys.
Mhm.
But they took that and made it a 2-minute scene of just kind of like a montage of him killing
Yeah.
dudes, and you don't even see him necessarily kill the guys, and then you just see them laying on the ground.
Mhm.
Where it'd be kind of fun to see Ellie have a montage of like, here's all these guys, my mission is across this neighborhood or whatever, and it's just 3 minutes of like some ominous soundtrack song or whatever. She's like sneaking up, and you just see her take out like just like Joel,
Yeah.
just take out a bunch of people, but she does it stealthily because she
Mhm.
has to.
Yeah, you see one silent to kill. You see one person take an arrow to the head and fall down.
And so we know it's like, okay, Ellie's a fucking badass,
Mhm.
and you get that fun element from the game, but then you just do it very quickly, and you're
Yeah.
not spent, because if you're doing a 10-15 minute sequence of Ellie sneaking around killing guys, like that's
Mhm.
not exciting. That's that'll get boring real quick.
Mhm.
So that's my pitch for that. Who knows if they'll do it?
Yeah. So in this episode, I don't think it's as well written. It
Mhm.
just feels a real talky in an explaining sort of way.
Yeah.
Just okay. We can't use our guns because the wolves are outside, and we gotta run. And da, da, da. It just, I don't know. It felt like they were talking to us more than each other.
Mhm. This is, I think, where the bad side of like the game design, where you
Mhm.
kind of have to lean into that sort of thing. So the game, you learn it. I mean, sometimes the game has to explain it to you, and you have the characters just like, the God of War complaint, like your son keeps giving you the answers, like that
Mhm.
kind of shit. So I see like why that writing can be kind of hard to work around
Yeah.
because it's got to like establish the rules, but also like who's really talking about. Like you guys know the rules because you've been living in this world long enough. But I get what you're saying.
And then we get like Jesse showing up and just going like, "Oh yeah, me and Tommy, we've been on your heels." And in the game you watch, you're in the wake of Tommy and you're seeing
Mm-hmm.
his aftermath. I think it kind of would have been fun to see Jesse and Tommy in the wake of Ellie's warpath, but she
Oh, okay.
hasn't done really any of that, so you couldn't.
Yeah.
But I think that would be fun to like she's been through here, or if she's been through here, like I can't believe this is the person we know. She took out all these fuckers, but
Yeah.
whatever.
I mean, it could be we still kind of get that. We'll just get it in the last episode where, because in this episode, Jesse shows up. We know Tommy's around, but we haven't seen him. It could
He's
be
off doing sniper stuff at Abby right now.
Yeah. So it would be. I could see in the final episode they are kind of seeing some of Tommy's work,
Okay.
and then they catch up with Tommy at the end of or near the episode, and we all know what happens there if you play the game. But we'll talk about that, next week or 2 weeks from now.
And we get a little bit of a Rat King, setup, or the hospital, the spores, the basement's locked up. For a brief second, I thought, well, are they going to switch this and give the Rat King to be an Ellie boss instead of an Abby boss? But it works better for Ellie,
for sure.
Yeah, I mean, good episode, but I'd say one of the weaker of all of them. Maybe the second weakest.
I think the major and I mean I like this episode, but I think the major thing for this episode is just kind of like it feels very episodic. Of we got to get to this sequence, to this sequence, to this sequence, because it's like we're at the theater, and then we are.
Here's the map of where the safe place is,
and then we get to the hospital, and then after the hospital, we get to
get to the abandoned building,
to the abandoned building with the stalkers, and then that leads us to the Seraphite. So we see that sequence, and then that leads us to the hospital. It's just like you're going to all these different bad guys, and it's just very quick, and then you get to the end, and la da da da. You get a very well recreated scene, kind of a famous scene in Last of Us 2. And then the episode ends with
a flashback.
A little bit of a flashback. We get to see Pedro Pascal for the first time in 3 episodes. Oh yeah,
he was in episode 2.
Episode 2.
Has there been? I mean, there's been flashes of his like dead face, right? No,
no,
or maybe that's just a game thing.
I mean, episode 3, you see like his hand, but we're not going to count that. Yeah. Like Pedro Pascal acting.
Yeah.
He's been missing the past 3 episodes, so.
So this is going to be the cute episode, the part of playing the game that I always like want to just get the fuck through because it's fun, but I've already done the story beats. I've hit all the prompts and looked at all the dinosaurs and every space helmet and everything. And then this last playthrough that I was doing, like, let's fucking go, man. I get it. But it will be a cute episode that I think will live as probably one of the better episodes because Joel is back and it is such a sweet moment.
If there's season 1 is the Frank and Bill story where everyone's just like, this wasn't in the game, but we loved it. It's, and got a bunch of Emmys. It's like, maybe this will be the scene that does that sort of thing where, here's some sweet moments. Here's some really traumatic moments.
Because you think we'll do all of it, right? The museum, her confronting Joel, her getting the true answers and the falling out.
Yeah, I mean, I think other than the flashback of, we'll just say the conversation, I guess there's many conversations with it, but like the final conversation that they have.
The very last thing they ever say to each other.
I don't think we'll get that flashback.
No, because that's
everything else before that, we'll get all that.
Because that's the last scene of the game. After you return home and Dina's not there and blah blah blah, she has the memory of her final moments.
That's how you get Pedro Pascal in this. If this ends with season 3, he's back in the series finale.
Yeah, that's you save that.
I wonder if they shot it, and so season 3 they don't even have to call him in.
They gotta, because I don't see us really. I mean, we don't go back to Jackson in the game at all once you leave. So if they have already shot all the Jackson stuff and they don't need it for season 3,
I mean, unless there's some excuse to show Joel as a younger man during like the early stages, or like, I mean, you
Yeah.
could make up a reason to
Sure.
bring him back, but
Yeah.
I don't think you need to.
No, it's good how it is.
But yeah, we got 2 episodes
2
left. I
episodes.
really enjoyed this season. I enjoyed the first season.
Yeah.
I think I had more gripes with season one, but that just might have been like new bias because
Yeah.
we didn't wasn't sure how it was going to turn out.
Mm-hmm.
It was cool to see the spores this episode.
Yeah. Which
Um,
I feel
it's
is
crazy it
kind
took
of
this
shitty.
long to get to
Yeah,
it.
because they talked about like you can't do the spores in the real world because if it was airborne, everybody would be infected and it would be over. It works for the game as a specific mechanic, but we're not doing it in the show. So that's why we're doing the little tendril things instead. And so it's more of a hive mind and they can tell where you're
Mhm.
running and stuff. But they haven't done much with it except for in the pipe, which I don't know if we're going to get any payoff of that. And then they just went to spores anyways. So like,
Mhm.
why not? It's like they almost walked it back. Like this is a good idea, and then shit, we kind of need the spores. So
Yeah,
yeah, fuck it, we're doing it anyways.
it's kind of like that game thing of just, oh, we have one thing here. How do we up the ante in game two? Oh, well, we had spores, but the spores were in the first game.
Yeah,
So, I mean, I like that they brought it in just because it is a cool element of the game. And if the idea is just like, well, the spores can really only exist in these small, tight
yeah,
rooms that have just been abandoned for so long
yeah.
that
If the window was open to nature, it would
they,
be too delicate, and they would die off because of the heat, the cold,
yeah,
or
yeah,
whatever it is. So in an enclosed space, they work. That's fine.
yeah.
Yeah.
So I don't think we'll see a ton of spores and
No.
future stuff, but it's nice that they're like, it does exist.
Yeah.
It's just super rare because why, everything's explored, or they're like, there's not a whole lot of reason to keep them down there. But if they're like trapped in there, then this is their thing.
Mm-hmm.
But let's get some Shamblers
I
and
know.
Rat Kings up in the shit.
I know.
And if you're listening to this podcast, and you're like, what the fuck is the Rat King? Why do they keep talking about it?
Yep.
You'll see.
You'll see. It's gonna be the coolest special effect
And
ever.
3 years from now, or whenever
Yeah.
season 3 comes.
So are we saying Abby will show up, but in just that final scene?
Yeah, it'll be that final scene, or it'll do the thing of it'll end and it'll just be Abby's eyes waking up because like she does in the game,
Mm-hmm.
and maybe like her walking out into the stadium and looking out of the stadium, and you see like how big the Wolves organization
That feels like
is.
a season opener, you know?
Oh yeah, I could see that being. I'm just if we don't end at the theater, I could see that also being an option. Just like okay, we're now establishing this is the Abby show.
Yeah. I think after she does the thing, I don't know why we're hiding spoilers from
We're
people.
spoiling so many other things.
Yeah, so after she shoots Jesse and tells her to drop the gun, I think she'll do we let you live and you blew it. Flex to pull the gun right at the camera, cut to black, and then that's just the end of the season. And everyone
just seems like the most logical way to end it.
That's how you're gonna end it.
Because I mean, that's how if you look at the game one, they ended it exactly how game one ended.
Yeah.
So if you're breaking this up into one game into 2 parts, and that's where part one essentially ends, like why wouldn't you just stop there?
Yeah. I wonder by the time we're done if it would have been smarter to intertwine their stories at the same time.
Well, the only reason I thought that they would do that was because like you kind of want to give us reasons to want to play like in the game. You're forced to play as Abby, and then you kind of see this other world, and you're like, I remember when that game came out, everyone's just like, what
I don't want to play as this bitch.
And then as the game goes on, you're like, oh wow, I
awesome.
get it.
Yeah.
So it'll be interesting to see like a show where if it ends, season 2 ends, and then season 3 is just the Abby show.
Yeah.
With like, and you don't get any Ellie or Dina in it till the end. It's like, is that gonna just piss everybody off?
Or maybe
it's
it'll
like,
make it
I
happy.
hate this chick, and they're just gonna be miserable because like you're playing the game, you can beat that game, that Abby's section in like a weekend. Where this is like, oh, this is gonna drag out for 8 episodes, 8 weeks of me having to deal with this chick who I hate. But like, you want to learn, like part of the whole point of the game is to like learn who this person is. It's like, oh, she's not this monster. She's not a bad. She's a bad guy, but also not a bad guy.
Everyone's a bad guy in this world.
Ellie's definitely more of a monster
Yeah.
than Abby is. But Abby just killed the person you love the most. So
yeah, replaying the game this time made it even more frustrating being Ellie of she let you go twice and then you still go after her again. And like after you save her, and like I can't let you go. Like you fucking moron! Like you could just see she's gone through so much,
Yeah.
and it was really frustrating. Like you are. I'm glad Dina leaves you. I'm glad you got your fingers bit off. I'm glad you have no one because you are truly a bad person.
Yeah, but at the same time, like I also 100% see why she did it. Like if someone murdered my son, and
Mm-hmm.
like yes, I could be the bigger person and maybe not forgive, but just go like, what good is it going to do me revenge? But like at the same time, Ellie's obviously more violent. I've never even been in a fight, but if it's the idea of just like my son's murderer is out there, and I'm just letting him live his life. Is he out there smiling, laughing? Like, does he have friends and family? He's out there having a beer, enjoying himself, but he murdered him for whatever reason, and I'm just sitting here going like, well, at least I'm the better person. It's like I'm not saying I agree with Ellie in the game at all. I don't, but I get it.
Because it's after Dina's had her kid, so she's barely pregnant when we see her. So let's say it's 6 months, and the kid's a little older. So let's just say it's 9 months after they're let go from Abby, and they've now settled on this farm, and they're having a good life. Like that should be enough time for you to say, I don't need to go out for revenge. If it was you got your fingers bit off and you're still hot on her tail, like I don't care if she, let me go. Oh, I guess the finger biting is later, but like, oh,
It's
they
like the
just,
last thing in the
that's like,
game.
yeah, it's like, oh, they killed my friend and you're gonna let me live. Like, well, you're an idiot, bitch, because I'm still coming for you. That I get, but when she has all this time to set up her new life and then still goes for it, like, okay, you're just a legitimate bad person.
Yeah, and this isn't us going, oh, Last of Us 2 game sucks.
No, it's
my
great.
favorite game of
I
all
want to.
time.
I like now that I beat it. I want to do new game plus with like some of the like unlimited ammo or
Yeah, yeah,
unlimited crafting, so I could just use that silent machine gun and just mow everybody down.
yeah. From anyone who listens to this doesn't play games or whatever, like it's a technical achievement across the board. Like everything about this game is better than the first part, exception maybe the story. I'm
You can
fine.
argue
You can
that.
argue that. I'm fine with that argument, but
You couldn't
I
even dodge in the first one.
I fucking love the Last of Us Part 2
Yeah.
game. It's just looking at it's great, playing it's great, the
Mm-hmm.
story's great. I don't give a shit what anyone says. And this is not me like sucking, Neil Druckmann's dick or anything.
I'll do
I
it.
I just think it's uh, a phenomenal game, and just it should be in the top 5 games ever created.
Yeah.
It's just so goddamn
I'm
good.
sure there's bigger, more in-depth games with more lore, more mechanics, but I think especially for the types of games that we like where you play an Uncharted and you go into a temple and you're like, "Oh, here's the puzzle. Here's a
Mhm.
shadow mannequin light source thing that you got." Whereas all the puzzles in this are just like real world things, like
Yeah.
here's a rope. Figure out where to throw it so you can climb up that wall. And it
Yeah.
may be something simple, but I don't know, it just feels real.
Yeah, like the biggest puzzle that I can think of in part 2 is like, oh, you got to throw this electrical wire over a fence and tuck it through a window or
Yeah.
whatever, so you can plug it in to
So it's
get
long
power.
enough,
So
yeah.
yeah, but it's not complicated.
Yeah,
It's not
I think the
silly.
most Uncharted-y sort of one is you bring a dumpster to the top of a ramp and you let it go, and then you run and open the chain as fast as you can so the dumpster will go out underneath it.
Oh, okay,
And
yeah,
it's
yeah,
like, that's it.
yeah. Yeah.
No giant stone things that you got to rotate to
Hmm.
line up puzzles, nothing like that. Just
Yeah.
very simplistic shit.
So what we're saying is, if you don't like the show,
You're an idiot.
go play the game.
Yeah. And if you don't like the game, you're really stupid because even if you don't like the story, it's still a really like fundamentally
Yeah.
a well created, easy to control, well designed game.
There's only 2 reasons I think you don't play The Last of Us Part 2. One, violence and like just kind of like dark heavy shit.
Scary
Scary stuff. It's
Yeah.
not for you. That's the genre.
Mm-hmm.
That's fine. Or you don't like story games. You're more of like, I just want to play Paper Mario or
Yeah.
Call of Duty. Like
Mhm.
I like violence, but I just want to shoot a
I'm
thing.
pretty sure Paper Mario has a pretty deep story.
I don't want to shoot a thing or whatever. Or it's just like I just want something cute and fun. It's just I don't really care there.
Yeah.
Those are I think the 2 arguments
Mhm.
I can get behind this. Basically going, it's just not for you.
Yeah.
But if you like story and characters and action and fun and all that good stuff, this is as good as it gets.
Yep. And if you don't like the show and you're saying you're dropping off, I'm done with it. Good. More for us. If you want to deprive yourself of something great, go by all means. Well, that's
our Last of Us
Last of
rant.
Us. Yeah. Okay. I got one quick thing before the main thing, and it'll be 30 seconds.
Great.
Poker Face is back. First 3 episodes are up on Peacock. Great show. Love it. It is concerning of how many murders she stumbles across because every episode is a new murder that she has to try to solve.
Mm-hmm.
But like, I've never met anybody murdered or has murdered someone, and I know she's hitchhiking.
I mean, you probably have. They just never told you.
Yeah, true. And then I don't have this special power to be able to just tell bullshit. And she is traveling across the country, so she meets a lot more people than I do in my normal routine. But I think after these 3 episodes, it has kind of we resolved this certain aspect of the show, so now maybe we can move on to something else. Like just someone stealing from their grandma or just infidelity, something. It doesn't always have to be murder. And the first episode was like Cynthia Erivo playing what's fives, septuplets.
Yes.
Playing septuplets who have a terrible mom who made them act in a kids cop TV show where it was like an 8-year-old is quintuplets, 6s septuplets.
Is 7 septuplets? Quintuplets is 5.
Sure, 5 tuplets. They're all like in a TV show and it's like, well, it's easier to play to have a show with a kid actor when you have 5 of them to choose from, but they actually gave up one of them, so they only knew that 4 existed, and one went with the dad, and then it's like a big inheritance sort of thing, and it's pretty funny. I don't like Cynthia Erivo, but she does a good job. And then one of them is what's her face from Dawson's Creek?
Katie Holmes.
Yes. She's like married to Giancarlo Esposito.
Ah.
And it's like a funeral home thing, and they're filming a movie in it about a funeral home, and a murder happens. And so when he kills her, they didn't clean up the set from the night before, so he tries to reenact it exactly the same. So they just clean it up thinking it's part of the movie stuff, and he's able to put her in, cremate her and stuff like that. It's a real fun episode. And then the third one is more like the mob catches up with her and want to use her powers to see who's the rat in the organization. And it's got John Mulaney in it. Yeah. Nice. So, star-studded every episode.
This is much longer than 30 seconds, but...
Oh, yeah, sorry. I actually just started getting into it. But Poker Face is really great. Who doesn't like Natasha Lyonne? I don't know. She could be like a huge piece of shit in real life. I doubt it. But she's just so much fun to listen to because that voice is just smoky grandma. Yeah. Like, it's amazing.
I think I could see her being if she's still in the industry 40 years from now, she's the new like Cloris Leachman.
Sure, absolutely.
That's gonna be her new thing.
I can see her playing in 30 years like that old woman who was in one movie when she was 16 but never got her big break, and she clings onto it and tells everybody about that one time I was almost gonna be a star, and still wears all of her jewelry and stuff. It's gonna happen one of these days. I can just see her playing that character.
Write that movie and pitch it to her in 30 years.
Okay, all right, so let's get to our main topic. Clown in Cornfield, this week's new release, besides Bullet Plane. No, what is it? Flight or Fright? Fight or Flight, which I didn't bother. I didn't care enough.
Yeah, I mean, after
the past,
after Hartnett burned me with the trap, I don't know.
And when he was in Oppenheimer, I was like, yeah, welcome back. I want to see more of this guy. Then he did Trap and never mind. I'm good. I'm good. I know that's not him and that's Shyamalan, but I'm good. But Clown in a Cornfield, based off of a book, a young adult book, which is weird. That's a young adult book and a rated R movie. You're either kind of screwing over.
Yeah, I mean, I think young adult might be. I haven't read the book. Maybe it's one of those things like they call it YA, but it's really not YA. It's kind of riding that line where it's just like it wasn't made for young audiences, but like young audience just found it online or whatever, got kind of into it. So now it's like, oh yeah, it's YA, guys.
Maybe
because those are the ones who were buying it. Maybe I don't know.
Yeah, you came to me and asked like, should we watch this or Accountant 2? And I'm glad we watched this because we definitely will have more to say because this movie's not very good. I'd give it like a C as being super basic. There's nothing to that pissed me off
Mhm.
about it. Like I don't hate this movie, but I think is kind of a missed opportunity. What that opportunity is, I'm not 100%. But yeah, sorry, Steve, for making you watch this one. I didn't think this was very good.
Well, Ben, when I saw the trailer for this, I thought this looks like shit.
Mhm.
Although there's one shot in it that I admitted
Yeah.
was a fantastic shot.
Hmm.
Um, and so I was just like ready to just slog through this movie. That being said, I kind of liked it.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
shockingly. Now, don't get me wrong, it's not good.
Yeah.
But I think it knows it's not good, and usually like that can kind of be against the movie if the filmmakers like we know this is shit. Um, so it's like they're not taking it seriously. So then it's like they just made a bad movie
Hmm.
versus like, oh, like we kind of know this is like a little silly and campy, but we're leaning into it.
Hmm.
So I think it kind of works by the end.
It
Uh,
needed to lean into it more because this is the guy who wrote and directed Tucker and Dale versus
yeah,
Evil, a very funny
which I didn't know until after I
after
watched
the
it.
fact. And so it's like, oh, if they really would have gone into the schlockiness of
Mhm.
why is a clown in a cornfield, that seems kind of a silly concept. I think this could have worked, but I think why it's a clown, like the whole backstory with the sugar company and the mascot, I just don't think it works.
Yeah, it's very rare on this podcast where, at least I think it's pretty rare, where we go, this movie needed more time. And I think this movie
Um,
would have benefited from more time, or maybe just better storytelling that would have like allowed it to sort of like breathe more.
mhm.
The first hour of this movie I wasn't really into because it just felt very generic, very cheap. Like it had all
Yeah.
the trappings of just like generic bullshit horror movie that they made because horror movies sell.
Yeah.
Um, where like all the characters were generic, like high school kids.
I'm the evil blonde
I mean, I
bitch, and
like
I'm the hot jock.
the one thing I liked is just that like this is you would think it's in the South or in the country or
Mhm.
whatever, and the first kid you meet is this like
Corn-fed,
corn-fed
big boy.
who's just like I'm into hunting or whatever.
Yeah.
So
I'm the quiet weirdo type that's gonna walk you to class. And like, oh, he's the bad guy. No,
yeah.
he's the red herring.
And then you have your main girl or your main girl meet the popular kids, and you think they're all going to be assholes, and like they're
They
kind of
are.
they're assholish, yeah,
Assholey?
yeah assholey, but they're not like just downright bad people.
No. But they're
Um,
not great. Like
and
they're robbing the liquor store. Oh yes, they paid for it, but they're pulling pranks on people to make them think a killer clown is after them. Like they're not
yeah,
great.
but like I just from the setup, I thought, oh, this is going to be the thing where they invite this girl into their crew, but really it's just to like screw her over, pull a
Sure.
prank, or oh, it's all set up to just dump blood on the new girl or
Sure, yeah.
whatever.
But it's
But
only
they
one
like,
that really doesn't like
but they
her.
genuinely liked her
Yeah.
from the get go. So I like that they weren't shitty.
Hmm.
Well, too shitty. And we could make the argument like, yeah, they robbed the liquor store of some beers, but like, that's high school, baby. I never did
I
that.
never did that.
But
No.
it's still kids don't
Yeah.
do that.
Yeah.
But it's in the grand scheme of things not the end of the world.
Sure.
I'd much rather them steal beer than beat up the gay kid or something like that.
That's true. Yeah. I bet halfway through, I turned to my roommate and was like, "I can't wait to watch these fuckers die." I
Yeah.
found them very obnoxious.
I didn't think any of the deaths were all that interesting.
Yeah.
There's like the chainsaw one in the cornfield that I thought was kind of fun, but
But
not like
but that's like
not
she runs into it and you're chainsawing. You lift up and she falls down and then splits in two.
yeah. It's like we don't have the budget for that.
Yeah. It's, okay. We'll just put blood splatter onto the blonde, and
Yeah.
that's about it.
But once it got to the last half or last 30 or whatever, I thought the movie was like really kind of finding itself.
Okay.
In terms of, I didn't think this movie was going to sort of be a commentary on Gen Z or
Older
whatever.
generations hating on younger generations.
Yeah,
and it's a kids these days.
Yeah.
Like that's their whole motivation.
And like them running into the house and just like, we need to call the police. And then they don't know how to use a rotary phone.
Yeah.
Like that
That
kind
was
of
a funny
stuff.
joke, yeah.
Girl looking directly into the camera and go like, if your dad's going to teach you how to use a stick shift, you gotta learn.
God, she drove me nuts because like she really felt like she was acting and not a person.
Sure.
And it just felt like she was acting to the audience and having these fun one-liners when she's by herself. I don't know, that bugged me.
Yeah. I was waiting for, it's always the red herring where, the person who they keep going, they're up to something.
Yeah.
You think like, oh, it's going to lead to something, but really it's like, oh, that's where the twist is. And I like that. The romantic interest of this movie is, he keeps like denying girls or whatever. It's like, because his best friend who like they no longer hang out with, they're actually gay for each other. And I thought like,
that was nice.
That was nice.
You don't see that.
It reminded me of Paranorman.
Sure.
And I was like, oh, that's kind of like a
that
fun
one
thing.
felt Paranorman is unearned. Because it just comes out of nowhere. This one I think really works. You don't see that like the red herring and then the hero guy, maybe villain guy, other red herring are just gay.
Yeah. And I didn't know that there was going to be multiple
clowns.
And then it turns into a kind of a Shaun of the Dead, like, good luck catching them killers then thing of just like, oh, it's the town who wants to keep the
fuzz.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Who it's like, oh, the town wants to keep the purity of their town, of just like, oh, we're this small, quaint place where everything is like wonderful and a-okay, but really it's only that way because you're just murdering all the undesirables or whatever.
Terrible plan. Is every adult in on this? Because if they just had the plan to kill the popular group or the troublemaker ones, that's fine. But they attacked him at a party. The DJ got an arrow to the head. So like there's other collateral damage. Is every adult in here just okay with their kid potentially dying? And if you're doing this every 30 years, like someone's going to find out. Like you can't get away with killing hobos, then hippies, and then 90s kids. It doesn't make a whole lot of sense.
Yeah. I mean, if you're looking for logic, this movie doesn't really have a ton of it, and it has plenty of plot holes. Like I get that. Don't go into it looking for, sense or, deep lore or anything like that. But I think like that's where the movie really could benefit is just, what is really driving this town? And like, are all the adults in it? Are just these, 12 of them that, came out of the woodwork to do this? But it's like, what roped the sheriff into doing it? Like the mayor, okay, I get the mayor wanting to like keep the town, but if the whole goal is to keep this town great, like show off the town. Like the reason it works in Hot Fuzz is because as soon as you pull into, I forget the name of the town, but you go like, oh, this place is really cute and nice looking, and there's like reasons why you would want to preserve this because it looks nice. Where this just looks like a rundown, shitty town in Wyoming or whatever. But it's like, it's stuck in the past, but the 90s aren't like, there's nothing about this town that makes me go like, oh wow, I see why this town would be desirable to live in and keep nice. But you don't really get much of the town at all.
No. And especially with the sugar factory being burnt down, what is there to offer? It didn't even seem like, oh, are they under construction to build a new one? Is it hurting the industry because the factory is now gone? So maybe the town would be suffering. It just seems like they're just celebrating the town. And I'm from a family that invented this corn syrup, but it burnt down, and you would think now there would be hardships. And it's really run down. They're closing off things in the school because they can't afford to fund anything because, the industry went away. It just felt like there could have been more with their backstory. And I don't know why. I thought this was maybe going to be supernatural because, like, why is there a clown in a cornfield? It's a silly title. Like, the example I like to use is, werewolf Santa Claus. Like, well, why is Santa Claus a werewolf? Those are two werewolves and Christmas. They don't go together. So why would it be a thing? It's just like a Sharknado sort of thing. Clown in a cornfield. Okay. Well, why is that? And I thought it would be they did it on South Park, but like killing kids for the harvest,
Mm-hmm.
and you have to sacrifice because they sacrifice in every 30 years, appease the harvest god who takes the form of a clown.
Yeah.
It was an old scarecrow that they made look like a clown, whatever the reason is, and that's why the industry's so good, because every 30 years we got to kill a group of kids to
Sure.
feed the
I think the problem
crops.
with that is that's basically the plot of it. Uh,
Uh,
I mean, not that you're sacrificing it to it, but it comes back every 30 years. And it's also a clown.
sure.
Like,
Yeah, but
if it was a shark that came back every 30 years, you wouldn't bat an eye. But it being
yeah,
another clown that is
sure. Okay, it
summoned.
doesn't have to be 30 years, but it's like, hey, this is a town where bad things happen, and they blame it on the factory. It's a dangerous place to work at, and everybody has to work there once they get out of high school because it's the only thing in town, but you have a high risk of dying. Well, it's because you got to kill at least one person every year. It doesn't have to necessarily be every 30 years
Mm-hmm.
or something. But I felt like it was going to be more. And then when I saw multiple friendos, I was like, oh, is it fucking with them? Like maybe in an it sort of way where it can multiply itself.
Mm-hmm.
Nope, it's just the town trying to, you know, kill a bunch of fucking
Whatever it is, I
Gen
don't know.
Gen Z probably, yeah. So I was a little disappointed with that reveal, and then the bad guy got away. He just drove off.
Yeah.
They didn't do anything.
So I imagine that has to play into the sequels. But when the credits started rolling, I was like, it was just so unaddressed that I was like, wait, did they get
kill him?
the bad guy?
No, he just drove off.
Because you never like see him. You see him like run out of the barn, but you don't see him like
he drives away in a van, and that's
you do see him drive away in a van. Okay, I don't even remember that part.
He was, because remember his son was like hanging from the roof, and then he drives off.
Oh right, yeah. But you just see him like drive out of the barn. There is not a shot of him like hitting the road and going like
no, nothing like that.
And whatever. So when in the movie ended, I was like, did they get him? Did I miss something? Anyway, that was weird. And then it's like a year later, and the dad is running for mayor of the town. It just seems like, dude, you just got here, and like this town, your daughter was almost killed by the town.
Mm-hmm.
And I get that you're kind of like, oh, well, I'm an outsider, so I can better this place because I don't have a connection to the clown people. But it's like, I'd go like, no, my daughter had this traumatic experience where she saw a bunch of her friends die.
Get the fuck out of here.
And like, yeah, we're moving. Because the whole thing was, we left our old place in New York because
Philly,
yeah, because it was just too hard to be there or whatever since mom died.
Overdosed.
Yeah.
What a weird way to kill off a parent. When like the dad's a doctor, if like dad was a scumbag or something, then okay, that makes sense. Mom may be a scumbag as well, or she got into his stash. Like why would I? Because I think of overdose, I think of like heroin, and why was she doing drugs? She had, maybe she had a little brother that died, and then the mom couldn't cope with that, got into drugs, but it's just like, yeah, mom died of an overdose. Oh, sorry about that. Yeah, we had to get out of there. No other explanation. I usually in these sorts of things, it's mom died in a car accident. Mom died of cancer. Mom left dad for another man. But an overdose? That just seems like an odd choice.
Fair enough. But yeah, like there was that thing where your mom died, so you had to leave there. It's like, I feel like, yes, losing a parent, if you're a kid, losing your parent, it's got to be one of the worst things ever. But I would imagine you'd be far more traumatized by a gang of killer clown adults who tried to murder you, and you watched them chainsaw your friends to pieces. You go like, oh, maybe I shouldn't live in this town anymore.
Yeah. Well, that's why she goes to college. She goes,
well, sure, but still, like, she still spent the year graduating.
Yeah, that's true.
She went to school.
Yeah.
After this. I don't know. It's a weird movie, but I did have a good time. It's not like I laughed a lot, but I did kind of like, I smiled. There was some fun stuff in this. I think I just liked it because it surprised me. I went in expecting the absolute worst, and for the first half, kind of getting the worst. And then by the end, I was like, you know what? Would I have been pissed if I paid for it? Sure.
Yeah.
But having the Regal Pass, it's like, yeah, I had a good time. It was a nice way to kill an hour and 46 minutes or whatever it is. It's not, super long. C.
Same here.
High C. I kind of want to give it a C plus, but it's like there's really not enough there to give it the plus.
Yeah.
But I think it's a totally watchable movie that if you enjoy this kind of silliness, I can see this movie kind of being one of those things that gains fame over time and like
Sure,
becomes one
maybe.
of those cult hits.
Yeah,
And we'll see if it garners enough interest to like warrant the sequels.
because
Um,
there is not more
there's
books.
2 more books.
Yeah.
Yeah, I just think maybe not do a clown, but I get why. Because if you have a horror movie called Scarecrow in a Cornfield, you'd be like,
Yeah. And yeah, that's where they
yeah,
be.
that's where they be. Um,
Me and my roommate we were talking about like, well, what do you do in the sequel? It's just called Clownin' in Cornfield 2. Um, but so does the old mayor come back to get revenge? Is it other people taking it up? And we're saying since she's going to college, he goes after her, and
mhm,
you call it Clown in a College. And then it's always clown in a something.
yeah.
You just change the location of where that clown's going to be and make it more ridiculous. Clown in a submarine,
Hmm.
How do you get there?
And I feel like there's just so much opportunity there because there is clown college. It's like she goes to college and then
Sure.
there's a
Yeah.
clown and like there's something that you could do
Mm-hmm.
there. Um,
And
but
Frendo,
it's just like, oh, she gets attacked at college and then has to go back home to the cornfield town in order to like relive the past, in order to
yeah.
defeat the clowns or
Mm-hmm.
whatever. Um, but it leads to part 3, which is Clown of Cornfield, the Cult of Friendo.
Mm.
And I was like, what's that about? That could be
Okay.
cool.
Yeah. And see, like that's what it seems like this is.
But yeah, this
Like,
seems culty.
yeah,
I mean, it
already.
is culty.
And Frendo had an opportunity of becoming like this new horror icon, and we have plenty of clowns.
Yeah, it's
Uh,
kind of overshadowed by Terrifier
you
right
got
now.
Terrifier, you have Pennywise, you got the killer clowns from outer space. Like even the movie Clown with the costume that won't leave his body, I think is a better look. I don't think this look. It feels like an amalgamation of a bunch of other things. It's
Hmm.
a little Pennywise and Killer Clowns from Outer Space together, and also he doesn't have a signature weapon. He's got sickles, he's got chainsaw, he's got a pitchfork. It's too much. Leatherface has that chainsaw, and he should be the only one that uses a chainsaw.
Jason has the
Jason has
machete.
it like you
Freddy
can't.
Krueger has the. I mean, we're talking about like the top tier horror
Yeah,
icons here,
but
but
it's like a lot of them. Like Chucky uses a knife. Ghostface uses a knife, but there is a specific knife look to
yeah.
all that they have. I think the pitchfork would have been enough.
Hmm.
2 people get killed that way, um, but without a signature weapon and an uninspired look, he doesn't really become iconic. And I think people are gonna kind of forget about Frendo.
Yeah, I think, if the sequels come out, that they definitely need to do something different with
Yeah.
the costume. It's just like, oh, this is the old friendo. Like, oh, we're reopening the factory. We're redoing like our town has a bad reputation now because of all the murders.
Mm-hmm.
And we know that the factory was burned down for the insurance money. So like, let's reopen the factory, get the town working again. New money's coming in. We'll do a total remodel. Friendo now looks more family friendly, but somehow that makes him even more scary
Yeah,
when the
or
time comes.
that's such an old logo. We got to bring them hip and up to date.
Hmm.
What are clowns of the modern era? And then you either have the killer adapt to that new look or keep that classic look, maybe change it a little, and is pissed off that
Yeah,
his look is
maybe
being
kind of give
changed.
it like a dead mouse kind of thing. It's like a digital clown face,
Oh,
kind of,
okay.
and it's the DJ Friendo or whatever, and then I kind of like imagine you see this robotic clown face like
Mm-hmm.
walking through a cornfield, like what the fuck is that?
Yeah,
That could be something, or
something.
just completely fucking stupid idea.
Yeah.
But this movie is kind of a stupid fucking idea.
Uh-huh.
But yeah, I'm sure there's other stuff I could point out, but
Yeah.
who cares?
Yep.
It's if you like horror movies, if you like clowns, check it out, but just don't expect it to reinvent the slasher wheel.
Yeah. If this
Um,
is your first slasher, if you're, 10 years old, this is probably good to get yourself integrated into horror,
yeah,
but this isn't for hardcore long-term horror fans.
yeah.
All right, well, what's next week? You have any idea? I
Thunderbolts 2.
I said last week that this week was going to be Friendship, and I goofed. That was a limited release. So, and I don't even know if it's coming out next week, but I do know Final Destination Bloodlines.
Ah, Christ.
So,
Uh,
I don't know if there's anything else coming out that you would want to see more, but I know that's what I'm seeing.
Hurry Up Tomorrow, I don't care enough about. That's
Yeah.
that the weekend
The
movie
week
with Jenna
Ortega,
Ortega.
yeah.
Um,
Our buddy Nick will definitely be seeing that one.
What the fuck are all these movies? This is the
I hate both the Regal app and Fandango app. And it says coming soon, Lilo and Stitch, Mission Impossible. Like, that's 2 weeks from now. I want to know next week, and I want you to show me the date and everything being released that week, and then the next date and everything. Don't just go the next Superman Legacy or whatever the fuck it's being called. I know it's coming. That's a July movie. What's coming out next week? Final Destination is the big one.
That's the one.
And maybe Friendship will get a wide release or something. So we'll have to see.
Well, our theater does not have Friendship listed for the 15th.
Okay. Well, things do change, but so yeah, well, unless you don't, if you truly don't want to see it, by then Andor will be done, so you could watch 12 hours of Andor. It's not 12 hours; it'd probably be closer to 10. But there's other things. You'll have Black Mirror done. We could do something else if you don't want to watch Final Destination. I don't blame you, but I do blame you because it's one of the most consistent horror franchises out there. All right. Well, if you want to get in contact with us, we are at WRPLpodcast@gmail.com. We're on Instagram, TikTok, Threads, and Blue Sky. As always, I'm Ben.
And I'm Steve.
And keep consuming. Smoky Grandma.
Yeah.
Like, it's amazing.